Trust your gut. It's not just a reflection of your health. It's what's driving it. Like your fingerprint, your gut is one of a kind. And it's trying to tell you something. Introducing the next generation of gut health testing, a home health blood spot test that reveals 5 science-backed biomarkers into your gut's unique functions, giving you the directions to find your own path.
All right, wonderful to see everyone on the Zoom today. This is the Zinzino Scientific Insights. And so I'm Stephen Cherniske, a research biochemist. I taught clinical nutrition at UCLA and ran the nation's first federally licensed clinical laboratory specializing in nutrition and immunology.
And I'm Dr. Natalie Kather. I'm a medical doctor, and I board certified in family medicine and anti-aging medicine. And in my clinic that I had, I specialized in hormone balancing, integrative medicine, metabolic medicine, and basically human performance for helping people get up off the sofa. Okay. Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about today is the new test that was just launched by Zinzino. Really important.
All right, Zinzino's new revolutionary functional gut health test. Your gut microbiome influences everything from digestion and immunity to metabolism and mood. And if you've been joining our groups, you know that that is not new information. The gut health test reveals its functional output, what your gut bacteria are actually producing, and how that activity is affecting you. And that's a new concept for a lot of people.
Well, it's a new concept, and it's important because before this test, you could go to your doctor. You say, "I'm really interested in information about my gut," and your doctor would have a very limited number of tools. Your doctor could basically take your symptoms and do some guesswork. Usually they would provide something like a PPI, a drug that dramatically reduces the production of acid in your stomach.
A proton pump inhibitor? Okay.
Exactly, a proton pump inhibitor. And so really there was very little. And now recently, doctors, smart doctors, have gotten into looking at the gut microbiome. And so microbiome testing is now available. But get this, different labs produce different results on different days. So it's entirely possible that if your diet changes, so does your microbiome. So the problem with a testing of the actual number and variety of bacteria in your gut, that's still an emerging science. What is not changing rapidly is what is the information relating to your gut microbiome. What is the information that's coming from your food and how your body digests and metabolizes that food? And how is that information going not only throughout the gut, how is that information being related to your brain? So, Natalie, tell us about it.
Well, the brain part does not show up on the gut or
Right.
test, but just to let people know.
Okay.
I mean, we could, extrapolate from the chemistry, but so let's look into what it actually does measure. So there's 3 metabolites, and the first one is tryptophan. And a lot of people are familiar with, tryptophan, that's in turkey. And this amino acid does get processed not just by us humans, but also by our gut bacteria. And that's what this test is about. And so here are the happy gut bacteria. You may recognize them from other meetings. And they make something we'll just call IPA, indole 3 propionic acid. Oh, it's easier just to say IPA. And so they take tryptophan and they convert it into IPA when things are going really well in the gut, when there's good things, like a strong barrier. We humans take tryptophan, and one of the things that we turn it into is what I call kynurenine, which may be mispronounced, but that's what I'm going to call it anyways. And what happens there is when there's a bad situation going on in our gut, an unhealthy situation, that's when we're more likely to make that. And that unhealthy situation is about inflammation, oxidative stress, and a poor gut barrier. And so you can see on this picture here, on the left side is a healthy gut with a good barrier going on. And here's acromantia, nibbling on polyphenols from, your balance oil and your Ascent capsules, right? And your Revo. So on this side is the healthy gut. So we would expect to see a high IPA and low kynurenine, or like KYN. But on this side, oh my God, look at this. These pathogens are wreaking havoc because there's not a good barrier. So they're even sneaking into the blood vessels, little monsters. So on this side, the results we would expect to see are high kynurenine and low IPA. So this test looks also at these functional ratios, not just the amounts, but how they each compare. So good things going on with the gut microbiome versus tryptophan, so IPA versus tryptophan. So that's our microbiome efficiency. And then kynurenine to tryptophan, well, that's immune stress. That's what's happening in the human. And then IPA to kynurenine, that's this balance of, okay, the good things that our gut is doing for us and the stress that's happening to us. What is that?
Now, you're probably getting that there's a vicious cycle here. That if you've got a poorly balanced microbiome, then you're going to get a lot more kynurenine than IPA. And that is going to, just like Natalie just showed you in this wonderful little graphic, Natalie showed you that results in the transportation of pathogens through the gut into the bloodstream. So that again feeds back to what? That produces inflammation, right? So that feeds back into the same cycle. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to interrupt that vicious cycle. And we're going to explain exactly how to do that.
And I see one of the questions coming up already is this available? Yes, it is available. Go to your back office and you can either buy 5 at a time, 1 at a time, or 2 at a time.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. So I took a screenshot on the website of this woman holding her results on her phone. And again, it's 5 measurements that we're looking at. And to take the test, do it in the morning after a water-only overnight fast of at least 10 hours. And then the recommendation is to repeat this test every 120 days. And we'll explain more about that concept as well. So the first thing that we see on here is the gut health index. And this is an overall view of what the results show. And so again, it goes back to, how our microbiome is doing versus how we're doing. And on the left side is the IPA level. And this, of course, comes from the microbiota. Higher is better, showing stronger gut barrier and protection against oxidative stress. Also on the left side is the gut microbiome efficiency, which is the ratio of IPA to tryptophan. And again, higher is better. And this is the proportion of the dietary tryptophan converted into gut bacteria, converted by gut bacteria into the IPA. On the right side is the microbiome immune support. And this is the good IPA created by the microbiome versus what's happening to us with stress. So higher is better, protective versus stress-driven pathways. And then on the bottom right is the immune stress. And this is the kynurenine to tryptophan ratio. So that stress that's happening in our bodies as the host versus the tryptophan available in our diet. Less is better. Susan McGill was smart about biochemistry, and she was wondering if it's the L-tryptophan. Yes, it is the L-tryptophan. In biochemistry, the L-tryptophan versus the dextroverted one is much more preferred for doing such important metabolism. So the tryptophan in the human metabolizes into kynurenine if there's inflammation, and it metabolizes into IPA when there's good balance in the gut ecology. And to help you remember that, the good bacteria say, it's a healthy day of making IPA.
There you go.
So if you're wondering, like, which is the good, which is the bad, it's a healthy day of making IPA. Yes. And so, as we mentioned, the higher levels of IPA are linked to stronger gut barrier integrity and protection against oxidative stress.
This is brand new stuff. I mean, Natalie and I monitor a wide range of scientific journals on a daily basis. It used to be monthly, then it went weekly, and now it's daily because the amount of information that is coming out from this rapidly expanding universe of laboratories and universities is really dramatic. And I'm saying that if something like this was available anywhere on the planet, we would know. So I can tell you with confidence that this is brand new stuff. This is breakthrough research by Zinzino and their scientists and the scientists over at Vitas Analytical Labs. This is breakthrough stuff that is reliable, that is publishable, that you can talk to your doctor about and hopefully interest your doctor in looking at it, because this is a tool for your doctor, not just you. This is a tool that you need to share with your doctor so they understand that there is breakthrough science here coming from Zinzino.
Yep. And it's a test that took 7 years to create.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid science. And patents. Yay. Makes it unique. All right. So again, low IPA, we worry about not good diversity going on or dysbiosis regarding the microbiota, that there might be breakdowns between the tight junctions and inflammation. And that goes back to the picture I showed earlier of those pathogens sneaking in. And high PA, it's a good thing. It's a healthy day of making IPA. Many thanks to Stuart Tomk for sharing his slides with me. He took this at the conference in Oslo this weekend, the Tryptophan Crossroads. So here is our dietary tryptophan, and it has many paths to choose to go to, and we're looking at 3 of them here. So tryptophan, many people know about how it can go the pathway of serotonin, becoming better mood. And if you're like me and you take 5-HTP as a supplement to help with sleep and mood, it is part of this pathway only, and it does not affect these pathways. Over here is human metabolism. Again, the kynurenine pathway, stress, and immune strain. Whereas on a good day, gut microbiota are making IPA, not Indian Pale Ale. Indole 3 propionic acid. So I pronounce it kynurenine because I want you to remember, me. Why me? It's stress. It goes along with stress. So here's this poor guy. Stress affects his health by changing his body using the tryptophan from breakfast, and instead of turning it into lovely serenity serotonin, which makes him feel calm and happy, it's getting turned into kynurenine. Something we're going to talk more about, which is we change our metabolism with every meal. Yet despite that, we're still recommending test 120 days.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I want to point out that there's a turkey in the middle of the table there, and we all know that turkey is high in tryptophan. However, it's important to understand that tryptophan is an amino acid, and there's amino acids available throughout the plant kingdom. And the good sources of tryptophan, the good plant sources of tryptophan, it's not going to be a surprise, but pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, right? Hemp seeds, nuts, walnuts, cashews, peanuts, legumes, soybeans, and all the things that are made out of soybeans. So tempeh and tofu, grains, oats, buckwheat, fruit, bananas, pineapples, and plums. Vegetables include potatoes, spinach, broccoli, and tomatoes. and flax seeds. And listen to this, even dark chocolate has a significant amount of tryptophan. So we're getting tryptophan not just from meat, not just from poultry, not just from eggs. We're getting tryptophan from vegetables, seeds, and nuts.
That's great. So this morning for breakfast, I had oatmeal that you made us, yum, and then put chia seeds on it, as well as my 2 scoops of xenobiotic.
What a great breakfast.
It was really good. Yeah. Well, we also have important gut health things in the Zinzino family of products. And it turns out that whey protein isolate, each serving of the whey protein lean shake will give you 154 milligrams of tryptophan. I like the tryptophan in the chicken drumstick. That's a nice, easy way to measure. And you can see the turkey drumstick has a little bit more, 273 milligrams of tryptophan. We have these wonderful products that boost our health, and the olive polyphenols in both the Revo and the Balance Oil and the Ascent, the Balance products, feed good bacteria, reduce inflammation. And guess what? Vitamin D, the gut microbiome, it improves diversity and reduces inflammation. And of course, the omega-3s also have that effect. And curcumin, people may remember, as we talked before, curcumin in X Gold as well as in Xenogene help feed the good bacteria and reduce inflammation. And Viva improves gut-brain communication by the nutrients that it inspires the microbiota to make, and it increases gut microbiome diversity, reduces inflammation. So here's the big question. Do you get your 30 grams of fiber a day?
I think you had probably 20 just in your breakfast.
Well, I got 10 grams from my xenobiotic, and then I got a little bit from my chia seeds.
And you got a bunch from your oatmeal, so good for you.
Yeah.
Bravo.
And just a reminder to people in the United States, in the UK, their label says 2 scoops. These products also have beta-glucans in them, a little bit each, and that certainly plays a role for the gut health. And then Energy Bar has 9 grams of fiber per bar.
Nice.
So let's get ready for the test. As mentioned before, to prepare for the test, it's a 10 hours of water-only fasting before the test, and do it in the morning. And a reminder about how this testing is happening, it's because we look at our human pathway of kynurenine versus our gut microbiota metabolism. So fiber intake, prebiotics, healthy gut microbial diversity. These are the things that support more IPA, and it tells us that we have better gut barrier integrity, less inflammation, and better metabolic health. So important tips to consider with this test is, hey, are you getting enough tryptophan in your diet? And this was actually a discussion topic in the Science Advisory Board because when we look at the population of people, we don't really know how well they're doing with consuming tryptophan. And I worry that because there's so much, mood disorders for a lot of people, low mood, that maybe they're not getting enough tryptophan. So for me, for optimizing mood, that's 3 chicken drumsticks a day. Yeah. So thank you for the chicken last night. We need to eat whole foods that are rich in fiber. Be consistent with taking our health protocol and our health protocol premium. These are the baseline system of products that Zinzino has with the Balance Oil, the Extend, Xenobiotic, and Viva. And then if you're needing additional gut health support, think about adding X Gold, Xenogene, Revo, vitamin D3, Xenoshine, the Protect, the Energy Bars, and the Lean Shake.
I like that. We're getting a question regarding if someone tests poorly, give us the products that they should look at first and foremost. So, Natalie, if somebody tests poorly, what's the first product you tell them about?
Well, if they're not already on the Balance Oil or a Balance product, because we think about the every cell.
Right.
approach, right?
So this
first.
person, let's say this person is not on balanced soil. Do you do Zinzino xenobiotic first, or do you do balanced soil first?
Well, they've just done this test, right?
Right.
I would talk to them about both.
Okay.
Now, if they're the kind of person that only wants to do one thing at a time, then maybe it is just starting with the xenobiotic.
Yeah.
But they're both such powerful players in this gut health situation that's why I'd want to get the balanced product in there too. Yeah.
Makes sense. And again, if you're wondering why that is, think of the all cell or the every cell approach, which we talk about over and over on this Zinzino Product Insights, because every cell in your body responds to the balance of omega-6 and omega-3, every single cell. Now, that includes all of the gut cells, right? Which is what we're talking about here. We're talking about a metabolic activity that's going on between an amino acid and the microbes in your gut. We're talking about what that results in. But if you go back one step and say, if the balance oil and getting back into the safe zone, if that's your foundation, right? Because of the every cell approach, it improves the function of every cell in your body. Right? Now, if that's the foundation, you see why Natalie says she doesn't really want to talk to them just about xenobiotic.
But that balance oil is also important to our pets that live in our gut. They're like, oh, look, it's olive polyphenols.
Right.
I thrive on olive polyphenols.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Another question is, does this test already protected with patents? Yes.
Yes.
And Carl is asking a disease question about gut biopsies, and is there alternative blood tests to getting that information instead? And that is an important question for your medical team to know why they want to cut out part of your gut and look at that. Because there are different blood tests to follow different situations. Yeah. Oh, Betsy wants to know the best way to cook chicken. And I agree that deep frying it is a very bad idea. Yeah, especially in corn oil, because it has a very high omega-6 content. So I think the best way is the way you make it. Would you like to talk about the chicken?
In the oven. Well, we have in our garden, we have lots of English thyme. So I'll just grab some English thyme, grind it up, and use that as the major spice here. But I'll also use a few other spices, sometimes Indian spices, sometimes Mexican spices to really make it a little more flavorful. But the major flavor is going to be coming from the English thyme, which is a very, very high antioxidant spice, as you can probably guess. Thyme, rosemary, the two of them have the highest antioxidant, that is the damage-reducing activity of anything in our herb shelf. And then I'll just put it in the oven, usually at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes.
And now you know why the chicken that Stephen makes for me is my comfort food. All right. And Lynn was asking about disease state and, whether people are labeled with a disease state or not. The gut health test gives important information and direction.
Good point. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for that. That's really important. In other words, the person doesn't have to be holding their stomach and grimacing in pain for you to recommend this test.
So let's see. Physical activity increases gut microbiome diversity.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yep. So going to the gym, doing your 10,000 steps a day or more. And then here's one that people are particularly wondering about: alcohol. And it was really good for me to hear Art Napolitano talk about his discussion with Dr. Torrenson. Dr. Martina Torrenson was the lead PhD on the global variations study that was recently released. And he talked about how she advised him, well, don't go out drinking the night before the test. But if you really want to find out where you're at with the absence of alcohol, because the alcohol can increase your kynurenine, is to stop your alcohol ingestion 3 weeks prior to taking the test. And then you'll have a better IPA level.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop desserts at least 4 days before taking the test to have a better IPA level. I appreciated that I could go to Perplexity and say, looking at levels of indole-3 propionic acid, when can you make those levels better? When do you have to stop your dessert? When do you have to stop your fast foods?
Now, can I interrupt? We're not saying you've got to tell someone they have to do this. They have to stop drinking alcohol 3 weeks before the test, or they have to stop eating any kind of sugar or processed foods 4 days before the test. The only thing that they really need to do is to have a 10-hour water fast. That's it. Then, if they come back and they've got results that are not exactly ideal, there's some things that they can do right away. Number one is stop drinking so much alcohol. And number two, stop eating so many sugary desserts.
Or fast food.
You see, so you've got things that you can offer to them in terms of what do I do that doesn't cost anything? Well, you can stop drinking so much alcohol and stop consuming so much fast food, and especially the refined sugars.
And then the whole concept of when to retest.
Yes.
Well, you just heard you could retest as soon as 3 weeks. You could retest as soon as 7 days to see improvements. But you're going to see the biggest improvements in 120 days. You're going to see the biggest improvements in a year of being on the products. But we choose 120 days for a few reasons. The first is that it follows along with our recommendations for the balance test. And that comes where... being consistent. Yep.
Okay.
So a pattern that people can understand. And remember, this is a nutrition system. So it's the process of also helping people learn habits. And it takes at least 3 weeks to get a new habit, right? To really ingrain it in ourselves. And so we want people to have the healthy habit of using these extraordinary products they can see, feel, and measure. Do you have some thoughts about that?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. And then looking at data, indole-3 propionic acid, IPA, levels significantly increased by consistent fiber supplementation and higher daily fiber intake. So get your 30 grams, right? Sustained over months, and this is a good source of that fiber, strongly correlated with higher serum IPA levels.
Now, I want to say, because we want to make sure that people understand that this is not just fiber. This is 8 different fibers. And the importance of that in comparison to Metamucil or in comparison to just ground up flax seeds. The difference here is that you're providing 8 different fibers, each of which supports a different kind of microbes in your gut. And we often say that if you're sitting at a sushi restaurant, and one of those sushi restaurants where each of the dishes is coming around on a little conveyor belt, you may choose one dish because that's really what you are looking for, and someone else sitting next to you may want something different, so they take a different dish. We tend to use that analogy so that people understand these are 8 different fibers that have been shown to provide the nutrients, the specific molecules that different microbes in your gut really are looking for.
Yeah. And then Joanne has a question.
Thank you. So for those of us that have been taking the xenobiotics every day for months, is it logically, can we conclude logically that our test should have a good result?
That's certainly what the research shows. In other words, Zinzino didn't launch this test without doing a whole lot of tests on people who were taking xenobiotic versus people of the same age who are not taking xenobiotic. So yes.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Great question. All right. And then Mary is wondering about timing with colonoscopies. And
Interesting.
Yeah, let's be a fun self-study, because we know that we're changing our gut microbiome to prepare for the test.
Yeah, I would not do this test anywhere near a colonoscopy prep.
It'd just be depressing.
Yeah, well, see, your colonoscopy prep, for those of you who don't know, is an emetic, which is basically going to evacuate your colon. So
No, it's a cathartic.
Cathartic.
Emetic means you
yes,
make 'em-
yes.
Yeah.
so that you evacuate the colon to make the camera have to pass easily and detect any changes going on in your colon. So you don't want to be doing that. If I would do the test before that, but I certainly wouldn't do the test after that, immediately after that.
No, give it a few months and then
Yeah.
test after. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talked about this already a little bit. How does this fit into the every cell story? And I think it, like you said, it goes back to getting every cell into balance, but it's the humans that are making the kynurenine, and now we're looking at these other cells too, the microbiota. And yes, the L-tryptophan is the preferred amino acid in the biochemistry.
I'd like to make one more comment, another plug for exercise, because it is so much a part of any health program. When we think of, well, wait a minute, how is exercise going to improve my gut microbiome? Because everything is related, right? So imagine you're walking down the road. Walking down the road, if you put your hands in your lower back as you're walking down the road, you're going to be able to, you will perceive the extensor muscles on your back alternating between, they're going to go just like this, fire, 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 relax, fire, relax, fire. With every step, you're going to feel the muscles in your lower back firing to help to propel you forward, along with the front and the back of your thighs, right? Well, what's happening in your gut is balanced by that. So you can't put your hand on your stomach and feel the muscles in your stomach doing the same thing, but you know they are. How do you know they are? Because everything in your body, in terms of your musculature, is always in paired activity. So what's going on in your back that you can't feel is also happening to a lesser degree, but still it's happening in your gut. Your abdominal muscles and your lower back muscles are always working together. So even walking down the road, you're helping your gut. Now, Natalie likes to work on her abdominal muscles separately. So you want to talk a little bit about what is the one that you do with these slippery slides?
The pikes.
Oh, yes. Pikes. Yikes, pikes. Working specifically on her abdominal muscles.
Oh yeah, my acromantia can feel it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think I hear microbiome say it's a good day to make IPA. So we should let people move into their day.
Wonderful.
Thank you everyone for joining us. See you next week.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, John, nice hat, dude.
Thank you, sir. I might keep it. Bye-bye now.